Hello folks, today we are going to be playing X-Tree Albion Prelude. Now, Albion Prelude is possibly one of my favorite games of all time. Well, the X series in general is one of my favorite series of all time. And it's a very unknown series, and it's not really reviewed much in the mainstream games reviewing sites and magazines, which I think is a big shame because this game has so much going for it. And I don't know why it's not given the coverage that it deserves, but unfortunately this is how it is. Sorry, I just had to bug off the music there. And now, basically, this game is set in space, and it's a 4X game. You can fight, build, think, explore. But this isn't some turn-based build an empire, capture planets game. This is a 3D space simulation game where you can do anything you want. You can go around trading items, building up your credit accounts to purchase factories, to build your own fleets of ships, and it is fabulous. And there's one reason, and if you don't like trading, you can go off and you can do fighting instead. You can be a pirate, you can be a security specialist, you can be a mercenary. Well, okay, you can't be a mercenary, but you can sort of pretend to roleplay a mercenary if you want. And it's just so many things you can do here, which I think is really, really good with this game. So we're going to start it off here now, and we're going, here we have a list of a couple of custom starts that you can do. Arrogant Peacekeeper, Dragon Commander, generic sort of starts. I'm going to go for the Bankrupt Assassin, so I can give you a clear indication of what the combat mechanics are like within the game. So we're going to click on that there. Now, while we're waiting for it to load, I just want to explain a little bit about this series. This series is often compared to Elite, that it's like the closest thing to Elite, yada yada yada. I think it actually beats Elite. This is how much I respect this game. Elite is an old game with its randomly generated planets. Concept was amazing at its time. This game has modern graphics, has some of the best graphics you will see in a game. It has amazing mechanics, and it has one of the most respected developers that I know making this game, which is egosoft. egosoft, in my opinion, are one of the few developers who listen to their community. They run a wonderful website, egosoft.com, and basically they listen to their players. When they release games, every single game they've released has been bug-ridden on release. Within 3 to 4 months, they will have put in the effort to patch that game. They will fix every single problem that is reported to them. More often than not, there is some stuff that they've missed. But in general, they really do try to appease their players. So I really want to say kudos to them for that, and that's one of the reasons after roughly 7 years, I still play this game on a regular basis. I have maybe 2,000 hours logged playing these games. So I just want to say thank you to them for that. So now we're going to start the game, and I'm going to skip this little cutscene, and we're going to go into the game proper. So here we go. Now, visually this game is outstanding. It degrades over time as you play because there's a lot goes on in the background, and so the graphics will degrade slightly once you start getting like more and more ships and more factories and what have you. But there's one thing that's really neat about this game, and something most games really piss me off with doing. This game has no limit to what you can purchase, and no limit to how big your empire can actually be. If you want to have 400 battleships in a row, you can have 400 battleships in a row. If you want to have a factory complex with 1,000 mini factories attached to it, you can do this. If you want to fly along an asteroid, you can do this. I'm actually going to fly along an asteroid right now just to prove to you that you can do this. We're in game now. Look here, look at this asteroid, and I'm just going to show you how beautiful this game is. So we're going to come down here, and now there is a button for speeding up time, and in a future video I'm going to go over that with you. There's a few issues with tutorials that need to be addressed, I think, which is the only area that I really feel this game lacks a lot. So here we are, like, look at the textures on this asteroid. Like, just take a look. Look at how close you can get to it. Take a look around. You can fly around the asteroid. You can dogfight around asteroids. And it's just great. You can fire into it. And it's just so beautiful. If you look at the planet here, you can see cities with their, in nighttime with the lights lit up. And as it goes into daytime, the lights switch off. Watch this. It's time speeded up. Look at this. The city, the lights are slowly going dim. The city here, the center of my view at the moment, the lights are slowly switching off as it goes into daylight. And they'll be completely invisible by the time it goes into full daylight. And it's just so many small details like this I think make the game so, so wonderful. Like, if you look down here, you've got a beautiful little factory complex. And this is a trading station where you can trade most items. Basically, this game has an amazing little trade system, which is pretty much NPC driven. Like, if a factory is low on resources, the price goes up for those resources, what they're willing to pay. If they have a full stock of items, then you can get them really cheap. You can go to another factory that needs them as a resource to sell them for a really good price. And the trading mechanics in the game are top notch. You can hire other ships to trade for you. You can there's a program called Commodity Logistics where you can set whole networks of ships selling stuff so they don't overlap one another. Just so many great features there. So at the moment I was going to go over the features with you. I'm intending to do a few more videos which will explain some of the deeper mechanics of the game, such as combat and trading, exploring, and some of the mission-based scenes as well. So here we are at the moment anyway, and as you can see, it is just beautiful, beyond belief. Now, I think one of the reasons this game gets slated so much when it is reviewed is the fact that its learning curve is very, very steep. It requires a lot of time to get into. It doesn't have a decent tutorial system, and the UI can be frustrating at times. Now, I want to start off with the UI-based problems. The sheer volume of what you can do within this game, once you have a big empire of factories and ships built up, each ship can be commanded individually, everything. And for the UI to be made simpler, like, I sure as hell cannot imagine how they could make it simpler for the late game. It's chunky, there's lots of screens that you have to click through and yada yada yada, and it does take up a lot of time, but at the same time, for me, I can't imagine a quicker system of doing it, given the amount of subsystems that are in the game. If somebody can come up with an idea, please, by all means, let egosoft know, and hopefully they'll take you up on the offer. But yeah, so the UI I'm willing to overlook. There's one area the UI really falls apart in, though, is for boarding, and I will be going over that later on in this series. So, in general, the UI could be improved upon, but I don't know how exactly. Secondly, the learning curve. There is a small tutorial at the start, but it is exceptionally basic, and it doesn't cover some core aspects. There's a button you can press in the game, which is your J key normally, which speeds up time by as much as 10 times. Now, not advisable if you're flying through an asteroid field, let me stress, but a lot of new players, when they pick up the game, you'll see on the forums that, oh, this takes too long, it takes an hour to get from one side of the sector to another side of the sector. They don't realize there's this button that can speed up the time, and I actually know 5 or 6 actual players who have abandoned the game because they felt it was just too slow, and they never figured this out. Thankfully, I persuaded them to go back, and they actually ended up really enjoying it. So, it's one of the things egosoft needs to look at with the game. Accessibility for new players, and like, it is very slow burning. Eva's slow burning, this is slow burning as well. You have like, when you start off, you're practically nutting. You could be very lucky and cap a fighter, an entry fighter, and end up with £1 million straight off the bat, or it could take you a couple of hours of play. Some players just really don't grasp the mechanics and they're left floundering, and I think more could be done to make it easier in the early stages not too easy, but just a little gentler on newer players and those with less time available to them. This also comes into effect for the boarding, which is my only major problem that I have with this game. So here we go, just looking around again there. Sorry to leave the ship just flying by itself. Basically, yeah, that's another area that they need to improve upon. And hopefully in the game they have due out in a couple of months called X Rebirth, they will address those problems. So hopefully that will be dealt with. Now, there is one other aspect I think lets the game down. When it's every single egosoft title that's being released has had a lot of bugs, and as I've said before, egosoft works so damn hard to fix these bugs. But when these reviewers like PC Gamer and a few other review sites pick up this game, they play it maybe for a week and they don't grasp how actually vast this is, and I think it's such a shame. So I'm hoping by this video that people will realize just how beautiful and how immersive this game is. Also, on a side note, I'm going to plug two things from the forums. One, the Creative Universe is a fan fiction area on the website, and some of the works that have been created there are both amazing, hilarious, and absolutely astounding in the amount of work that has been put into them. And I wish to plug two of them in particular. One is Nuclear Slug's postings regarding Squiddy Mac Squid and Wanton Destruction, his second story. Also, I would like to mention the Drake series, which is a story compiled from intertwining stories from a number of players who have linked all their stories together into one sort of ongoing series, and I've spent hours reading that, and I'd just like to plug that as well. I think that in particular was amazing, and for any new players to get a grasp of what they could achieve in this game, to read both these on the creative forums. So there we go. You can check out these on the website www.egosoft.com. So yeah, I'm going to cut the video here, and I hope everybody enjoyed, and I hope some player who hasn't experienced this game will check it out on Steam and give it a shot. So thank you very much.